Hello everyone, this is Coach Carol and I'm here at the Easyspeak Help Desk. Today's pre-recorded session will focus on the control panel basics for your use of Easyspeak. If you have other inquiries, please contact me at easyspeakchampion@gmail.com. Today I will focus on these 4 questions. I'm going to do the sandwich approach. First of all, what is the control panel? You'll see an example of the control panel on the right hand side of the screen here. And how do you access the control panel? You should see a small icon at the bottom of your screen on any page of Easyspeak. But you will only see that if you have permissions to do so. Permissions are usually given to the VPE, an IT manager, and perhaps one other. The middle section is what I'll focus on now. What do you do in Control Panel? I'm going to use King Arthur's Playground as our example once again. And here I've logged in as Minnie Mouse, who is the VPE, who does have access to the control panel. And this is what you see when you first come into the control panel. The familiar set of links on the left side and some information about the forum statistics and who is online with you. I'm going to go through the things to do in control panel in the order they show. And you'll see a green star each time I'm dealing with a new segment. The first segment is management of club officer roles. You may have the same set of officer roles as you see here on the right, or you may have some different ones. You can edit any one of the roles to give extra permissions, or you can add another role as required. Let's have a look at how to do that. First, to edit an officer setting. You choose the officer setting edit screen first, and then go about choosing the permission settings to give to that role or that officer. So in this case, we're editing to allow extra permissions for an assistant VPE. We don't give them access to the control panel, not necessarily, but everything else might be put in place. You may also wish to give them permission to create and change meeting dates and times. All of that is done here in editing the officer settings. The next thing to do in the control panel is to focus on the club setup. Here you will see that I have access to King Arthur's Playground, and there's an edit button on the right hand side. We use that one to edit various parts of the club setup. Let's have a look at what they are. You'll see a club control panel set of tabs: General, Display, Options, Role Allocation, Meetings, and TMI information. The General tab is where you'll put in place the club name, email address, links to clubs' websites and social media, and where you will indicate or find the subdomain or the URL for this particular club. The next tab in Club Setup is called Display, and here is where you make choices about what is going to display on your agenda. For example, the time zone in which you are currently located should be amended if it's not showing your current location. This is very important for the online clubs. The date format is your choice also. Privacy preferences include who can see charts and user lists and photo album, so you can make adjustments in that section too. Other preferences include things like whether or not to display member awards along with their usernames. For example, if you want to make sure that your agenda shows everyone's status in the Toastmasters education program, you would change that to show their DTMs or their CCs, etc. The next tab is called Options, and in here you can make some choices about what else you would like to use from the suite of services within Easyspeak. Do you need a membership survey? There's one here. Click yes if you need it. Do you want to use the Outstanding Toastmaster function? This one is really useful to calculate annual awards. Click yes if you want to use it. And so on. You've got a new visitors chart, a photo gallery of members, etc. to make choices about. The next tab in Club Setup is the Role Allocation. This one is the most frequently visited when you have differences between clubs who use Easyspeak to control their meetings. You'll notice in the left-hand panel here that you can select the number of meetings before someone gives their first speech, before any role, or before they repeat the same role. Just choose from the drop-down lists. The second panel shows your role assignment preferences. And in here, you can choose to make your meeting automatically visible at a certain number of days prior to the meeting. Especially useful if you want your club members to sign up in advance. The third panel is about the email and notification settings. Here you decide who to send any speech details to when someone requests a speech. The next tab is called Meetings. This is where you can set the time and place for your meetings so that this is an automatic feature each time you create one. You may have already set up some locations, so you would select that from the drop-down list. You would also put in place the days and the times and the weeks of the month in which the club meets. The next tab is about agenda preferences. This is where you can add important details for printing on all agendas, such as make sure that the first or given name and family name of the member is showing. Or you can print a message to remind your members to bring along their manuals for each meeting, for example. The next tab is the Toastmasters International information, and this is important to put in place so that on the home page of your Easyspeak site, people will see the name and contact details of the person who is to be contacted. In this case, it's the president. The next thing to do in the control panel are the meeting roles set up. Now on the right hand side you can see some familiar roles and perhaps some new ones that you've not in your club yet set up. Might give you an idea. You could add roles and you will decide how those meeting roles will display, and in a moment I'll show you how to edit them. What you need to be mindful of here is, can the roles be assignable? Will they be fillable? Can they repeat? And can they be auto-assigned? So once you've chosen a particular meeting role to edit, you'll see a pop-up tab which gives you space to change the permissions. In this case, we do want that the Toastmaster of the day is always the meeting manager, because this gives them extra permissions. To edit a meeting role, you simply click into the edit icon at the right-hand side and access the edit screen. Here you can determine what the new role name and abbreviation might be, enter a link to the knowledge base article, and answer yes or no to the options at the bottom, especially the assignable one. The next thing to do in the control panel is to set up your location manager. Perhaps your club meets in more than one venue. Here's where you locate them. Each one is editable, and each one can be set as a default should the situation change. And for those online clubs, you can add in your virtual meeting location. Here's how you do that. You go into Add a Location, then select the URL for your meeting, and that ensures that it will go on the top of each agenda. Next, in the control panel things to do are the meeting awards. Now your club may not do these, it's optional, but here's where you can make them zing. You can add new ones. For example, here, it's very tiny to read, but Peter Pan's Lost Boy Award is a special award in the King Arthur's Playground. To add a new award, you would click into the plus button at the bottom of the previous screen, and you'll get a pop-up where you'll fill in the name of the award and various options about that award. The next thing to do in Control Panel is perhaps to choose a member survey. This is a great tool. You can modify it to survey your members with the questions that you prefer. There are many in there, so make your selection carefully. Here's a close-up view of some of those questions that you may like to include. For example, this one, what do you like about the club? The next thing to do in Control Panel is the member status. Now this is referring to the particular names of your members at each stage of their membership. Initially, they may be a visitor. They may then become a prospective member before moving to the membership status. Here's where you add other things like your guest speakers, etc. And of course, you can reallocate any of these status symbols to those who no longer wish any emails to be sent. Thanks so much for viewing today. That's been a whirlwind visit to the Control Panel Basics. If you would like to find out more, please subscribe to the help desk at www.smore.com. If you have some presentations that you would like to put forward for the 2017 season, please communicate with me in the Facebook group, the Easyspeak community. This is Coach Carol signing out.